Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
All right.
Season 3, episode number 1, Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. For those of you who have forgotten what the hell we look like, I'm Joe.
I'm Ed, Evil Ed.
And I was trying to figure out, and I always wait for the last minute, damn it, to figure out what the temperature is. Now, you were out there a little bit earlier. What was it, 40?
It was freezing out there. I had to come back in here.
Now, keep in mind, there's people that are listening. Hopefully some of our friends back east and maybe in Michigan.
Well, it's not as cold as them.
Yeah, we're a bunch of pussies to them, right?
Oh, yeah. When it gets 60, I'm freezing my butt off.
So how many layers you got on there?
Shirt, flannel, and this jacket.
Plus the hair on your chest and the beard?
Yeah.
Add a couple more. That's like 5
And I'm
layers.
still cold.
Hey, on a serious note, we're going to dedicate this season 3, episode 1 podcast to the Shakedown Man. Rest in peace. He put together those Hood TV videos, Ed, that were nationally of claim on YouTube. I know that it strikes the chord to a lot of our listeners and followers and friends back in Detroit. The Shakedown Man may be gone, but those videos will live on forever.
That's right.
I didn't know the guy. You know, I'm just kind of had the chance to meet many of those cool guys in Detroit, but he was a lot to many. Did you see any of those videos?
Yeah, I saw a couple.
Yeah, he had a unique way to him. So rest in peace to the Shakedown Man. We'll also give a shout out to E and E's bride, Christine, who's feeling a little bit better. She's back home hanging out with the kids, doing all those fun things that comes with being a family. And E, we know you've been working hard at that and supporting that foundation that we're a big fan of, Scleroderma. What's happening on the front at home, E, and what's happening with the upcoming Scleroderma event?
We're just really, really busy.
Yeah, that I know.
We have a first walk on March 24th in, where's that?
Valley? Yeah.
Yeah, the Valley. And then flying out to Mammoth for a skiathon called Vertical Cure in April 7th. And then down to San Diego for another fundraiser at Petco Park.
Well, you've got 3 good locations. It's for a great cause. For folks who want to get involved on that, scleroderma.org still? Is that the address?
Sclerosocal.org.
Sclerosocal.org. For more information on that worthwhile foundation. Also want to give a special shout out to my main man, Corey, my nephew. He's hoping to make the most of another shot back here, be with his family. Wish you the best, Corey. And huge thanks to Gail and Jerry for everything they do to help Corey out as well. You too, Marv. Big thanks to our sponsors, Ed. They came back. They were here to support us last year. They're here again. Pioneer. Look at the fancy little backdrop.
Nice.
Huh? I made that. I had a really scientific way of putting it up there, you can tell. Right? We've got CRC back. Your favorite.
Knock her loose.
Huh?
Knock her loose.
I like the Power Lube and the Brake Clean. They're back supporting us. We'll be giving a ton of CRC product away. Go-Kart USA's back. Thank you, guys. Al and Emron. You know, they gave away that awesome bike, the American Flyer. And that went to our man Chue, I believe. Chue won the bike at Joe's Minibike Reunion last year. So thanks to Go-Kart USA and Tim, our man.
Tim Iskey.
Huh?
Tim Iskey.
Tell him with the best question or comment wins on the podcast tonight, Ed.
Tim Iskey cam.
Small engine cam, just similar to the one you see here. They're typically the Black Mamba cams, the popular Black Mambas. And as a special way to kick off tonight's podcast, Ed, what do we got back there?
Oh.
Huh? We got the autographed small engine cams banner.
Cam banner.
All right, autographed by the evil one.
We got a brand new 7-horse Briggs motor.
Oh, we're not giving that away, Ed. So we're going to give you the camshaft, and we're going to give you the small engine cams autographed banner. What's cool about that, this is actually a collectible, and here's why. Not just because our shitty autographs are on there, Ed. I hate to break our bubble. It's because that logo is small engine cams' new logo. Those of you who have been fans of small engine cams, check that out. E, I don't know if you can capture that. Okay, so that's it. This is the first use of that logo. And Tim had that sent to us. It arrived just this morning. Boom Boom called me up, let me know the UPS had delivered that. So we're going to give it away. So you have a little bit of a collectible, and for those of you who are into the mini bike scene like we are, I bet you're going to love it. All right, so we haven't been on It's been a little while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. We have had some things happening. E's been tending to some things, and he's such a big part of our team that when he needed some time, we all took some time. Meanwhile, we had the very successful Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast that was held here in La Crescenta, and that was fun. We had the star of the show, and he almost took home everything, Ed, was Ian Cordova.
Yeah. What's up with that, Ian? Save something for someone else.
So let me congratulate Ian, but I will tell you, he came, and if anybody ever deserved it, it would be that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we're going to try to have him on earlier when we were hoping to pull off the first podcast maybe a month ago, and it just didn't work out. He's up there in like Central California, so it takes him a while to get down here. Plus, he works, right? So it was tough to get the time off. But we're going to have him back on the show, and we'll see him next, couple of weeks? At another event we'll talk a little bit about later in the podcast. But Ian's a Taco 22. I think it was a 22, right?
Yeah.
Lowered, kind of a custom green. You'll see it everywhere. That was the unanimous People's Choice Award at the event. And he won the engine. I think we had an engine as well. And Ed, I think he came close to, there was something about the ballots where there's some mix-up, but he almost won the bike too, right? So he would have won the whole trifecta.
Everything.
You were there. You're kind of hanging out, laying low, watching what was going on. We tried a couple things this year, right? We continue to have the dyno. They love the dyno.
Yeah, everyone likes that.
It just makes sense considering that, they can't ride, right? So the dyno was popular. That was something that we repositioned. There was a little bit of a different flow, but I think the highlight within my eyes was the judging team.
They changed the judging.
Yeah.
And let's see what else.
You were part of that, right? So Jake.
I didn't get asked too many questions.
Well, because there was such a diverse.
Jake and Ian. Yeah, they did it all.
Well, it was different because as I try to find a flow, operative word being a flow, it just made more sense to have these guys go through, quote unquote, the judging before they park to enjoy the rest of the day. It was so nice just to have them get it done and then just go park.
Right.
Not one person
walking around the whole show, yeah.
Wondering, right, or asking if they got judged or if they saw the bike. So that was good. And as I looked at, in fact, the photo, I ran it for the longest time of all the winners of all the different categories that we had. That was a nice roster of bikes. There wasn't one bike there that anybody could have, despite the fact that a few people still did bitch, because that's what happens. But it was a legitimate, those guys were all legitimate winners, done by very qualified judges. So that was a big improvement. I like that. We had about 150 bikes. I don't know that we had as many people as I had hoped collectively, but it was a good group. And that's all that really matters. So we'll keep that coming back again. It'll be our 7th annual.
7 years already.
Yeah.
Wow.
7 years. And I think it's going to take us to 10 before we have somewhat of whatever you want to call as momentum, right? Well, by 10 years, the big pain in the ass was the food guy not showing up after. And I felt bad because I asked these guys to stick around. And over the years, we haven't really had a food vendor. We've had a food truck hit or miss. But Rodney, the rib guy, dude, I got to call you out because it's a shame. He went through all this to get his insurance and pay the permit fees. And then when he wouldn't take my call when I was calling looking for him, and then he did show up, and it was like, about a half hour to go in the event. So we're going to do a better job because we found out that there's a grill there on site.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a grill, and we're gonna make available breakfast tacos. Just quick on the run. We'll have coffee. We'll have burgers.
Breakfast burritos.
We'll have whatever you want.
We'll have breakfast burritos.
All right, so we'll use your recipe for the breakfast burritos. So we're gonna make it a little bit better next year. You'll find out more about the event. People are already asking about the date. It's typically in October on the 3rd Saturday. I don't get a chance to get the actual meeting, let alone confirmation from the park until like 6 months out. So we're getting closer. I'll announce that on our Facebook page, the Facebook and social media. What do we use? We use Facebook. Obviously, we're on that now. We primarily use that. I don't know. There's Instagram and Twitter. I'm not big on that.
Onto that.
Yeah.
I'm not into that. Just Facebook.
even that, I feel like a dick sometimes, but you know, it's a way to effectively get with our guys. Our Facebook page is growing, Ed.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think we're close to 3,000, and you know, we don't hype that. That's not a big thing, but if you do want to check it out, and our website, we need to update our website. I wrote a recap of the event. At least I thought I did. Did you find it?
I thought I put it up there.
So did I. So I'm looking, I'm refreshing. It's like, did I never write? Or I know I wrote, but I'm the website under the blog. I can't find the recap, and the recap had all the winners and all the highlights and friggin' pictures. I can't find it, so I stopped looking. But we'll update that. We're not anal about this, just like we weren't too anal about like a scheduled podcast date. Like we do it when we can do it, right? So send in your comments, send in your questions if you have any. We've got a couple questions. If you want to kind of stand out, use the hashtag JMBR, the hashtag small engine cams tonight. We already have had a few questions that have come in. We'll check them at the break, and then we'll announce the winner at the end of the hour. So we talked about Joe's Minibike Reunion, Ed, and one little activity that you and I did have a chance to spend some time with together was the coming out of your vintage, historic, actually, Bonanza with the...
Two-stroke.
Oh, the
two-stroke from hell.
I'll let you take over, but I had a great time. I have specific memories of that day. Most of them were good. Jack from 818 Minibikes. I think we've got him up there. I think I got his T-shirt up there somewhere. Jack.
Yeah, it's behind that other.
He was a cool guy, right?
Yeah.
So what was the deal? He rolled us out with maybe 20 bikes?
Yeah, there was probably 20 bikes. Got mine down there where we were supposed to be and rode it down to the parade start. We shut them off.
Where were we? Just for those folks, it was close to like Van Nuys, West.
Well, it was like
Winnetka, Chatsworth,
Balboa, between like White Oak and
the Valley, right? We'll call it
Zelza, maybe
Northridge,
yeah,
Chatsworth,
Granada Hills.
It was a nice little parade, Christmas parade, very well attended.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, so we show up. I think you scared the shit out of some of those kids.
Yeah, I get the bike down there to the starting line. We shut it off. Then it's time for us to go, get it started, jump on it, rev it up, and boom, the clutch flew right off of it.
Exploded.
Yeah, clutch flew right off of it. So I pulled over to the side, found most of the parts.
That was what I found amazing.
Yeah.
I think I found one part. No, you found the parts, and then I found the tools.
Yeah, you found the tools. I found the parts.
Yeah.
Found both clutch springs.
That was amazing that you found those friggin' parts.
In the middle of the street, yeah. Tried to put it back together and just didn't go back together right. One of the springs was bent, so it didn't want to work right. And so I'm stuck. So then, what was that guy's name?
I don't know, but he had a nice bike. He was an older gentleman. He's a fan of the podcast. He's been to one of the events. Like he knew, he knows most of the guys. It was my first time meeting him, and I'm terrible.
Towed me through the parade with a rope.
He did. And as we were riding around amongst, what was pretty cool is that we really had the ability to ride those bikes on the city street with thousands of people seeing us. And we would ride, and we would kind of come back around, do figure eights, and wave to the crowd. It was like we were actually a part of the.
Yeah, I'm getting towed on my
everybody but
minibike.
you.
and I hear people going, "Evil Ed, Evil Ed." My friends are out there watching me get towed.
You had a miserable look on your face. I got a picture.
Oh.
But none of those memories of your frustrated look, being towed while everybody else was riding there, and there were.
Well, that was like the first time out. I really didn't even never work the bugs out of it. That was working the bugs out of it right there.
Well, you wore it well, and not only was it kind of funny, I think I found it a little bit too funny. I do have some good video.
Yeah.
And some good photos, but I'll wash all that away when I simply remember the picture of you beaming in stride, that bike running like a raped ape, your beard parted in the sea like Moses, Ed, In fact, I think you almost had that same look as you walked through the event, that one photo that I have on the Facebook page where you're kind of, you got that evil Ed look, but it didn't have that separated beard. I've got that photo that'll live forever. That'll be the next T-shirt with you riding with that beard separated. So I knew we had a good time. So thanks, Jack, for putting that together. That was nice of him.
It was running good until that freaking clutch flew off.
I had Frankenstein, and that ran well. I had a little tick. I'd rather have an explosion than a tick. A tick would drive you nuts, right? So I'm thinking it's the engine cover. I'm holding the bottom of the cover. I'm holding the top of the cover. I start touching shit. I start touching the exhaust and getting burnt my cylinder. But I got a little tick in there. But thank God, and I'm not surprised for a minute, so I'm not even knocking on wood. The engine was a brand new 5-horse, so I shouldn't have had many problems. All the modifications were done by Jake. The bike was built by him, so the fact that it's bulletproof is no big surprise. So, Jake, if you're out there, thank you again. And I brought back Ed. While we haven't done the podcast, I know we've gone out. We did that ride. Then we went to Max, right?
Mm-hmm. I got sick at Max.
Yeah, you weren't feeling good, right?
I had to leave early.
Well, it's bound to happen. It was cold. Plus, you were there the day before helping him, right?
Yeah.
Moving in, and then you were there. What time?
He was killing me.
Yeah.
Freaking, I got the flu. Just didn't feel like hanging. Went home.
I got there later than you, only because I can't do that. I can't be at some place at 6. I could maybe be someplace at 7. And that morning, I just wasn't feeling like it because I didn't need to buy anything. I'd bought myself out. All I've been doing is buying shit, it seemed like. So I wasn't anxious to run down there to get anything. I was tempted. There was that West Bend.
Oh, that Danny had?
Yeah, and I was looking at that, but, I don't know if I wanted to go that deep. And something was telling me not to because we picked up that little, the 7-horse Briggs. Yeah, so shout out there to my main man, Mr. Griffith, who helped me out, rolled that down. He made a nice effort, the guy that I bought it from. So thank you for that. So we got that engine, but yeah, there wasn't a rush to go down to Max. And when I got there, it seemed like I had got there late, because people were, I don't know what time I got there, maybe 10, but it seemed like everybody had pretty much come and bought what they wanted to get. I did meet the young guy, Justin Eckler.
Mm-hmm.
And how nice that was. He's a big fan of yours.
Yeah.
He was adamant about, I think he was your 8th hat customer. He bought an Evil Ed hat, and I gave him some decals. Show him the big decals, Ed.
We got the big decals.
Well, you got the small ones too, Just like I got the small ones.
ones.
Yeah. And there's your...
We got T-shirts, we got hats.
In fact, let's give that away as well. Okay. So we'll also give away, as an additional prize, we'll find a question or a comment. We'll give away the Evil Ed combo. The hat and the T-shirt.
Yeah.
So, just to let you know, the only ones we have left are the larger sizes, the XXXLs and then the XLs.
Really?
The 3X or the 2X. Because, those that were purchased on site were the commonly purchased size, right? And then whatever other ones I gave to you. So we still have some left, and we have a few hats. So when I was down there at Max, I was tempted to maybe buy something from Danny. Other than that, there wasn't anything I saw that I had to buy, That one dude had that chrome little Indian frame that's still there.
Yeah.
The only thing that keeps me away from that is that I've got my macro bike, the Temecula Bob bike.
That's a great bike.
Yeah. Jake now has that, as you know.
Right.
Remember? Oh, so, that was our little trip
we
up.
We dropped it off, yeah.
But catching up, it was Max. And then because you weren't feeling too good, you stay for a little while longer?
Yeah, and then I just couldn't. It was getting too cold, and I was feeling miserable.
There were some cool products there, and you and I were lucky because you got us behind the black curtain or the iron curtain. Yeah, Mac's little stash of engines. That was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a couple West Bends in there that I wouldn't mind plucking. He had shit everywhere you looked. He had something that you'd want to plug.
He's got a lot of stuff behind that curtain.
Ed, there's a lot of stuff there. who ends up with it? Does he have a son or a nephew?
He's
or
got a brother,
he's
but
got
he
a-
doesn't want it.
So you're in line.
Oh, George 3, this guy George, he might get it, but
Oh yeah. I
he
know
has
George.
no room for it, and
You're getting
I
it.
have no room for it.
Yeah, but you'll
He's got
appreciate
way
it and
too
you'll get
much
it.
Stuff.
Well, Mac, look, I hope you live for another 100 years. I hope I'm dead before I have to hear he's got to deal with that. But there's still some good stuff there. And for those of you who have heard about the Mac Fest and haven't had a chance to check it out yet, do it. For those of you who have attended, it's the typical Mac Fest, right? He's so laid back. He's like, you don't care. You come. Prices, we love you, Mac. And he's helped me. He's always been such a big source of help. I had a guy, Larry, call me from Arizona. He had attempted to reach Mac through phone calls and maybe traditional style stuff, and he wasn't getting a response back. And I jumped in the middle and got to Mac, and I think he needed like a hub or something for, is it a Gilson, the Montgomery Ward type bike? You've seen him.
yeah.
So before I knew it, not only did Mac sent him a hub, but he sent it to him in Phoenix without any charge. He was just so cool, to just do that. And the guy Larry was appreciative. So that's just an example of what a cool guy is, and a former Joe's Minibike Reunion Hall of Famer, right? So what do you expect? I then went over to GTS.
Hobbies.
Yeah, their open house in Compton, and that was fun.
Yeah, I wanted to go, but I just didn't feel good.
Well, I told him that you said hi. Rafa was there showing his, obviously showing off what was a nice deal for him. That has a lot of cues of what I had hoped to maybe have, when having a brick and mortar retail with your bikes and your products and your
I'm glad
apparel.
he's doing good.
Yeah, he's busy. And you know what I love? D-Racer just put out a really nice video. You can probably find it on West Coast Minibike site. And incidentally, you can take a look at the video and photos from MacFest on my Facebook page. I think I posted some videos of.
I think Mac just posted his video on YouTube of the event.
What is he going there? Go-kart?
Go-kart guy or something.
Yeah,
like
go-kart
that.
guy, whatever.
Something like that.
So check out Mac through Go-Kart Guy. And then, again, if you wanted to see any of the escapades that Ed and I were talking about, you can check out my Facebook page. And then on GTS, D-Racer. He put together, who else wouldn't? Who else but D? He put together a really nice video showcasing the GTS new digs and what they're capable of. And you see Rafa back there just bending pipes.
Yeah, I saw that.
At this point, they've pretty much got the Predator build-up fixed. They've got the frame thing where what they produce at the price they produce it for is getting many, 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 many people into this sport. If it weren't for a place like GTS and young kids, and I'll just call it urban, most of those guys probably got more money than fucking you and I would ever have anyway. So, but the fact is they're still youngsters, right? No matter where they live or what color their skin is or where they're hanging out. But so expecting a 15-year-old kid to have what, $800, $1,000 to get into some power sports hobby ain't going to happen. GTS lets them get in there for half of that. And so there's a real upside. They continue to be challenged largely by the fact that none of those kids wear anything when they're riding still. You can still see all the posts. So as we go into this new year, there's a friendly reminder. In fact, look, the folks at Honda of Glendale, they have been with me and been with us as supporters of our event forever, since the first show. And she gives me, I told her we don't need money. Don't get me wrong, but help me with products. So she gives us these helmets. And I bring that up again because that continues to be an issue. Their kids ride without helmets. So I've got a stash of them back there. And if you're listening to my podcast or if you've been to my show, then I'm with you, you're with me, and they're with us. I've got a helmet for you. Just reach out and be truthful and wear it. Or if you're a husband or a son, or excuse me, you're a father or a mom of a kid that's into mini biking or motorcycling and he's not wearing a helmet and you're listening to this and you need some help, I've got some helmets. So let us know. All right. All right. That aside, Ed, GTS was cool. I loved it. I love what they're doing. My first time actually being there. I was never at their old shop.
I never was either.
Really? I don't feel so bad, but it was nice to be there then for their grand opening. And we got a nice reception. They had some of our Joe's Minibike Reunion stuff that I had brought. They had that on display. They were giving away some of that stuff, so that was nice. And we've got to go to their event. They have their open house, which is upcoming. In fact, if somebody who's listening has the date for their picnic, the GTS picnic, I think it's upcoming soon. I'm going to be there this year, and I would invite.
I saw something, but I can't remember the date.
What's ready for you to ride? Because I want to.
Me?
Yeah. What's in the stable now that you're willing to put in your truck and bring out and ride? What do you got?
I got the early Bonanza.
Here, Ed.
I got the first 50 Bonanza.
So
but
you're cool with
I
that?
don't want to ride it. I'm going to
yeah.
take a BC 1400 Bonanza with a Tecumseh H50 with a lighting coil on it.
That's the bike.
Excuse me. It's
6 inch? 6 inch?
Wheels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Got a gas tank, stock Bonanza gas tank, stock Bonanza seat.
There you go.
I'm going to take that. And I have a trail horse that's ready to ride. And then I have a stock.
What do you got? A 5-horse in the trail horse?
Actually, I put a Hemi in it.
Ah. Okay.
And what else do I have?
Somewhere in the sea of what you've got.
Oh, I have a early BC 1000.
Ah.
Early one with a lightning bolt badge on it.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's got the Briggs motor on it.
The 5-horse is the one to bring out.
Yeah, I think that's the one I want to bring.
I brought Frankenstein, and when I mean bring out, is we went to Jake Mo puts on kind of an impromptu get together where we hook up, we meet somewhere off of the 14 in the AV Antelope Valley, and we ride along the beautiful aqueduct with the desert backdrop till the wheels fall off. It is pinch me perfect, man. It was the first time going there. It was like, at some point, this has to end. Some helicopter, some
right.
squad car, some SUV that's like a border patrol equipped vehicle is going to track us down and take all our mini bikes and shit. And there was a point where we were like separating a fence to get through, where you had to lift up. Like I had Frankenstein, and it was low, and anything low, you had to kind of lift up to get into the area where we really wanted to ride. So at some point we were kind of crossing over where we shouldn't be. And I don't think they were expecting us to be riding along the aqueduct. But the fact is, once you got out there, it was mini bike heaven. We rode, Jake, Alfredo was there, Midgie. They have I think Midgie and Jake are putting together that Built Mini Bikes social media. I think it's an Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they got some cool stuff. He was out there. Charlie was out there. A whole bunch of other guys. D Racer was there filming everything. There was a slew of folks out there, and we had a great time. J Rock, he got there late, fixing his shit late, but he got it running. He's always a cool guy to be around. He said he was getting out of the game, he's selling all of his stuff. He ain't getting out of the game. You'll see him at the next event. But we had a really good time there, and when we got back, and one person tells another person, it's like, well, shit, I wish I knew. I wanted to go, or let me know. I want to go to the next one, and I didn't want to go. What's nice, Ed, is that I just get to go. I don't have to worry about setting the shit up, and
Right.
It's nice for me to. So you'll enjoy that too. We just go and we ride.
Yeah, I think I'll bring that Bonanza. It's kind of set up both ways, street and dirt. Whatever.
Well, the dirt's there, but you're not going to ride it. You're going to ride it when you got that beautiful pavement and you could ride 5 wide. I mean, it's the guys with there was one dude. I'm sorry I forget his name. He had a dual Predator engine set up on his go-kart. And
really?
He was doing some pretty serious, little figure eights out there in the dirt. But for the most part, with the exception of the bikes that, like, Rafa had an 8-inch tire bike. That's the ideal bike. It's the big boy frame, like that American Flyer that we gave away. That bigger frame.
Yeah.
It's not the 6-inch wheel and tire combo, which is
Hate it.
That's the one. Knobby. Built little Predator. It's going to be fast and dependable. I rolled out with Frankenstein, and by far felt like I was having as much fun as anybody else. I had a nice low cruise. I had my emergency brake. I was sitting low, riding nice, but I was probably the slowest bike out there. I mean, because everybody had like built Predators, and they were just flying by. And what was nice is that there's no pressure. The fast guys were with the slow guys. The slow guys were riding with the go-karts. I mean, it was nice. At some point, we had a little break. Somebody went out, got a little cold beverages, and we rode back. And I was probably home by 3 o'clock. And I got there early.
Really?
I was a little bit afraid because as I was going up to 14, the temperature was getting cold. It wasn't, it's like, all right, it's, freezing now. But once I get out there, it's like it was getting colder. So then I passed the exit. Like I'm like seeing signs that I know are wrong. So I finally, like an idiot, like I should have done the first time, I Google map it, and I went 12 miles past the exit. So I turned around. I still was the first one there because I was so anxious to get out there because it was that much fun. But so typical Joe, right? But I found it. It was a great time. It was the Antelope Valley Ride. For those of you who have asked about it, keep an eye out for Jake Moe's post. The rumor is we may be doing it sometimes in mid-March. And if we do, and you're local, you'll want to be a part of it. It's the AV Ride. And you were part of a group email, Ed, that I had sent out about an opportunity that came my way through a good friend, Miles, over at Dub Magazine.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Yeah. Dub, which is the premier urban lifestyle automotive title out there, and right now it's really, it reflects the market. Whether there was a time when slammed Chryslers were all the big thing, there was a time when it was European BMWs and dropped Mercedes, and then SUVs, and now it's trucks. Lifted trucks, $150,000 trucks. So that Dub market just blends with the whole automotive market as it changes. He's active everywhere, and he has a series of events nationally, and we've got one coming up. It's March the 12th. It is at the L.A.
Convention Center.
That's right, not to be confused with the Staples Center. And it's a one-day show. It's Sunday from noon to 6. It's a pay to get in, but we're going to be there. Thanks to some help and support from Miles, and we're going to have, hopefully, I'm going to bring a couple bikes. I'll bring Frankenstein, and I'll bring the new Temecula Bob bike that we just got back from Jake Moe. Jake did some finishing touches on that. So I'm going to bring those two bikes, Ed. And I'm also going to bring my original, the one that's in there, CR400
Oh, the chopper.
Bonanza Chopper. Yeah, I'll just bring that. So I'm going to have 3 bikes. You're going to bring your Bonanza, but you're going to bring your...
No, I might bring the Temecula Bob drag bike.
Oh, great. So you bring whatever you want. You're Evilette, damn it. You're going to bring a bike.
I think that's probably better to look at than my old beat-up, nasty-looking Bonanza that no one will know what it is or anything or appreciate it.
Well, I do, and I actually was hoping that you would bring that only because there is something very unique about that bike, and that the history of that bike should be put in front of some folks. So you may want to reconsider or bring 2.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll be there. I'll be there, and no one really cares, but maybe Jake Moe will be there with whatever he wants to bring. He's working on a cool drag bike, and in any status, we'd love to see that. It's a long haul for him to come out, but Ian's coming out with that Taco 22, the custom green one. Yep,
too?
he's coming out there, and again, that's the People's Choice winner from Joe's Minibike Reunion last year. That alone is worth coming to check out. I'm trying to work with my Grom and my Ruckus and my mini moto crowd. So I'm talking to my main guys over at Steady Garage, as well as my buddy Bing, and we may have a Grom and or a Ruckus on display. Wade Kawasaki. Wade's a big player in our industry in a variety of fashions. His work over at SEMA, Coker Tire, countless other places. He's got that awesome Honda CT70, the blue one that was at the show. He's going to have that out on display. F&B, I talked to Brian and Frank is going to bring in his Stella, and Brian's going to bring the orange drag bike. So they'll have 2 bikes. Home Alone is going to bring out his drag bike. Yep.
Vern?
Vern will be out there. And I wish I had more room because I was going to enlist Rafa, because there's local, to come out and bring out some bikes. I originally was trying
right down the street from the convention center.
I was hoping to get a larger display. We're stuck with it. Well, we're not stuck, but we have a 10 by 30. So we're going to, it is, but when you start to allocate bikes in that space, there's not a lot of room. So we're going to be jamming to the
Could
point.
have been worse. Could have been go-karts.
Well, I figure if I got 2 or 3 bikes and there's not enough room, I'll bring one home to have another one there. But we're going to be there. I'm going to rent a little carpeting for us. E's going to be down there. We're going to tape a podcast because we'll have so many people.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to tape, I don't know that this is necessarily hardcore fact, but I've talked to a few folks within our little circle about expanding our brand and maybe stretching the canvas a little bit so that we can have a YouTube show. We've got a YouTube channel, Joe's Minibike Reunion, and it's just littered with videos that we've made, had some fun with over the years. But this one would be something new that would feature not only some of the bikes and the personalities that we run into. People are always interested in seeing cool bikes, and we have access to many of them here. But also some of the characters, countless characters that could be met within this industry. Charles Mini Drag Bike, and we mentioned the Franquez brothers and D's and the Evil Eds of the world. But we have the chance to ride now, and taping some of that footage when we're out there riding could be fun. We've got the event that we do, and there's a lot that goes into that as we build towards it, and when we're on site during the event, and then kind of the recap. And then, we've built bikes. You've helped me. We've built
plenty of bikes over the years.
Well, the ones that we did, right? This one, the CRC bike. What else? The Fiberlock bike.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, and we currently are finishing, I think, the final plan on the execution of that custom Ruttman for Pioneer.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to meet with Frank at the Dub Show, and there's a chance where we may be able to finalize the date where that thing will realistically be done. And if it's close, we're going to give that away at Joe's Minibike Reunion this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Talk to Pioneer. Talk to Ted. Ted's been so patient. I've had that bike in the works for how many years now?
A couple
right?
Years. A couple years.
It's been. And I was going to turn it around that year, and it wasn't right. And I didn't want to rush it and come up short. So he was patient. He was patient. Now we kind of laugh, about it, but I want to do it, and I would like to give that away. So if we can make that happen, and I'll fill you guys in on the details, but that's a really cool Ruttman. It had a stock 5 horsepower on it. We're going to have some fun with that, with the audio, the way we've got the seat set up, the way we've got the headlight and the tail light for a sound wagon and something really, really cool. Frank's got a really good idea about how it's going to look. That could be something that we'll get excited about, and that will be available to anybody who's a paid participant for the Joe's Minibike Reunion. Excited about that. So you've got enough bikes now where you're not pretty much worrying about when we go riding at AV, right?
Oh no, I have a stock BC 1000, all original that runs.
Well, get out the one that you're anxious to shake out, and then bring a spare. Bring another one. or bring because
Why, you think the clutch is going to fly out?
well, we what did we say when we were sitting there? It's like whether it was that we didn't have the tools, we didn't have the parts, and when you're out there, that's why it's like so I learned, and I'm going to be better equipped. And shit, if I got it, I'm bringing it. A clutch, a chain, and shit. That's what led us to talking about maybe expanding our little plan this year and designing some products. When you're out there riding, you realize what products need to be built. So who knows? Maybe there's a couple other things in store for us, Ed. But we'll manufacture our own products this year.
Yeah, I can bring out a couple.
So you have my Powell, and you have been working that within your schedule, and you may need some parts.
Yeah, I need some parts.
What do you need?
I need a shifter.
You need a shifter. So if anybody's listening, we need a shifter for a Powell.
I need a drive belt.
Drive belt, okay. That should be a little bit easier to find.
What else do I need? A seat.
A seat? Yeah, we'll make one if we have to.
Okay, and a seat.
We-
And
So even if you just have the frame, we'll take the frame.
we have a cover, chain cover.
We got a chain cover.
Belt cover.
I got the tubes.
I got the axles.
All right, we need you. Are we using your Briggs? Am I buying that from you, or I'm looking for a Briggs copper?
Whatever you want. Yeah, the one I have is painted yellow and it smokes a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's a 5-horse early Briggs.
I'm looking for a Briggs 5-horse too. In fact, who isn't, right? And I sold flathead. That would be kind of period correct for that Powell, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking for that. And I've got a couple of these Clinton engines that really were a blessing, I thought, and turned out to be a complete nightmare. The one that I have on there now is a 410, I think it's 410-2772. That's the engine ID. Of all things, this has to be the rare series with aluminum pistons. So I have tried high and low, and I've used all the referrals that I've been given for diehard Clinton engine guys, but I'm looking for an aluminum piston for that 410 Clinton engine. It's a 4-horse head. I think it's yeah. And I need a flywheel as well, because we had that one that we were going to put on one build, and we broke the flywheel, couldn't find a flywheel, and we didn't have time to find one. So, you know what we're going to end up doing? Like you said, we'll steal the flywheel off that one, and we'll get one of them running. But if you got any Clinton connections, we're looking for a little help. You mentioned behind you, Ed, the 7 horsepower, the new find. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. I saw it online, and I immediately reached out to the owner who had posted it to see if a deal could be made, and I was able to. And it was offered as a new engine, and it had, in fact, look at Ed. You've got
I got the
some warranty papers.
warranty paper.
And the photos that were posted.
Here's the warranty right here.
Yeah, it was very nice photos. Very, very, very clear. Guy was a really cool guy. Brought it down, and I've had it here, pinching myself, and one of those too good to be true. And I paid a fair price for it. The guy drove it down. Nice guy, like I said, and I've had it there, and I've been looking at it 3-4 times a day. And as I looked at it, you know, I'd open up the air filter and the element was coming apart. That's natural. I kind of cleaned that off. I'm actually ordering a new one just to have it, but I won't be using any of that if I hot rod it. You know, I looked inside that tank and it was clean as a whistle. You could tell if an engine's been
Right.
But then I started to get, again, because too good to be true, I pulled the rope, and it looks like a new rope, but it's painted. There's like spot.
Oh yeah, they painted it while it was together.
I look at the gas hose, as I've shown you, that was painted.
They did that.
The spark plug.
Oh, that's yeah. Tecumseh paints their spark plug wires white like their engines.
The little area in the tank where the paint ran. The paint ran.
Yeah, that's a rare one though. Sometimes they don't get runs, but they do get runs from
So,
the factory.
all right, so I'm thinking, all right, let's see the little sticker I told you about. I thought it was a little crooked. I start to have second guess.
No, that's
I'm not suggesting the guy pimped me.
That's
I'm just
assembly line right there.
I'm just
That's not-
suggesting that this
Okay, I'm going to get this sticker right on. The assembly line don't do that. Slap that sticker on and go to the next one.
is foolish me. So I've been beating myself up, saying, you dumb bastard. You thought you found the mother lode, and you ended up with a repainted engine. It's like, no. So I said, here's what I'm going to do. I trust myself. I've seen enough of these fucking engines over the years. But it's like, when Ed gets here, Ed's going to either spill the beans or he's going to give me thumbs up. Despite the fact that they painted everything, you know, it's true. It's the real McCoy. It's the real McCoy. We've got some nice paperwork that was given to me. And I put a poll because when I got it, I said, hey, you know, came across this cool 7.5 horsepower, blah, blah, blah. Got some comments. And I said, you know, I never used that poll option on the Facebook page. I figured we'd try it. Should I hot rod this 7 horsepower engine? Well, we got a lot of, you know, on those things you just vote. Some people vote yes, some people vote no. And then there's other people, right? You know those people?
Yeah.
They want to give you like their world according to, and
I
it's
know exactly what you're talking about.
so. I say shut up and vote. You know, it's a yes or no. But it was kind of entertaining, some of the comments that we received. But we received the poll stops at 5 days or wherever it is. We got 74 votes. 48 were yes to hot rod it, and 26 no.
They said no.
Yeah, every one of the 26 that said no had a comment. all the 48 people that said yes pretty much just voted. And I still have mixed feelings. Emmanuel had made a point, just like I think many folks had, which is that, hey, these things really are, they're tough to find.
Yeah, brand new one.
And what year is that? A 76 or something?
76.
All right, so I get that. So
Plus, it's that nice copper color, too.
Yes.
That's
See? That's the one I want. That's the one I'm looking for in the 5-horse version for that Powell, but get in line on that. Well, anyways, we've got this engine. We've had a poll. It turns out that I'm still not sure what the hell we're going to do. I'm going to let maybe you guys help me out. So if you wanted to comment about that as well. I think we're going to get ready for a quick little break and then come back and finish up.
How about that Dumb and Dumber mini bike?
We're going to talk about that. Emmanuel sent me a little link of it, but that was like weeks after we were at all. My comment was you have to be dumb and dumber to buy that. Well, that was an Isuzu. It looked like a chopped up Isuzu.
It was stretched Isuzu.
I still do not believe that bike legitimately was transacted on eBay. I think that I don't know that it's marked paid, but now yesterday someone sent me a link. It was a good friend of mine, Jim Marino, who is not only one of the more successful guys in the automotive aftermarket industry, has a really successful agency out there in the Inland Empire, but Jim is a collector, and when I mean collector, Ed, he has a stable of muscle cars and drag race cars. In fact, he just bought a new Dodge Demon. I see him spinning tires off of it like every weekend. So he's living. He works hard. He plays hard. He sent me a link, and this is a guy who also has that big collection of tacos and Hondas that I went to visit. He sent me a link. You'd probably find it funny. I have a picture somewhere with John Lennon and his son Sean on a little red Honda Z50. They called it a monkey bike.
Right.
That is now up for auction. The estimated selling price on this,
that's going to be more than 50 grand.
Minimum 50 up to $100,000 for that. And that obviously has some cachet. The Dumb and Dumber, I think the guy pissed on the seat and everything. I don't know that I'm spending that much money on that, but who knows, you know? Jim Carrey, John Lennon, you kind of...
Couldn't believe it when I saw what it sold for.
So we'll take a quick little time out. It's not as cold as we thought it was going to be. For those of you who are where it's really cold, we thank you for keeping yourself up back in the East Coast. Some shout outs to some of our guys back east, as well as some of our friends back in Detroit before we take a break. Ed, Kalman Carisi. Kalman, hopefully you won again at the Detroit Autorama. Where
yeah, he sent me a picture or part of a picture of his bike this morning.
Well, you're being a little shy. You had your nice decal laid out there. Thank you, Kalman.
He had that too. Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of nice. He's a great guy. He would like to see if maybe you and I will go back and participate in Eric's mini bike drag racing event. So
studs.
Yeah, Eric at Stud. So we'll talk about that, and I'd like to get back there and see those guys. There's a group of guys there. Shane Fuller. I think our guy Tom's out there too. Tom Jizzle Wiki. Is he there, or is he back east further?
I think he's back east further.
Yeah, but we got Kevin Blakeman, my man, out there.
Got Myron.
Oh, where's our stubby hat here?
Oh, right up there.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Crispy Minis.
Crispy Minis. Now, I don't know if he's out of the game or not. He's
no,
another one.
I seen him post up.
We're gonna miss him
Stebbins.
if not. But all the guys over at Stutz want to thank you guys for all your support, and I got to reach out to Eric, find out what's happening with him. Brad DeMoisley, Mike Champagne, a few other guys out there. Hope you're all doing well. And obviously our main man, Myron Bailey. Myron, we'll have you back on the show. We were just kind of finding our legs as we fired up the podcast.
Beard's getting a little too long.
Dude, he's got some beard game.
He better trim that thing.
It's in tribute to you.
You better trim that thing. It's getting too long.
Well, I'll let you give him some beard etiquette lessons.
I'm
And
having a bad beard day today myself.
you said that. Let me see.
Freaking cold out.
I think you look good.
Okay.
The photos that I posted of you from that 818 Christmas parade with your beard, there was a lot going on. In fact,
A lot going
and look at that. Look at that picture. That's a 10-color T-shirt. We paid extra to make sure that that beard is about as lifelike as could be. So, for those of you,
good.
If those of you who like a Ed's Minibike limited run, now they're extra large. I think it's 2 and 3 size. That's all we have left. We've got hats, but send in your comments. Again, hashtag Joe's Mini or JMBR, hashtag small engine cams. We're going to be giving away a camshaft as well as the autographed historical new logo small engine cams banner. We're going to be giving away
shirt and a hat.
a shirt and a hat, and we'll give away a helmet if we get around to it too. So we caught up. We caught up on the event, the AV rides, the Christmas parade, Max, the GTS open house, Dub Live. We're going to give some shout outs. I want to catch up on a few things and read some of these questions when we get back. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. It's season 3, episode 1. We'll be back in a bit. Thanks for listening. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. It's season 3, episode number 1. Ed, I heard your phone bling, 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 bling. What do you got over there? What's going on?
I don't know. Let's see.
These are probably your podcast fans.
Oh yeah, it is, huh?
Why don't you give them a couple shout outs, and I'll collect some of my little notes I'm working out, and I'll join you. And then we're going to get to the giveaways. We've received quite a few questions. For those of you who sent in questions and comments, we want to thank you. For those of you who had not had a chance to, or were in a drunken or sleep coma, maybe you want to revise yourself or a friend and send in your question or comments to still have the chance to win the small engine cams camshaft and autographed Evil Ed and yours truly signed poster. We're also going to give away a Evil Ed apparel pack, which includes a hat and t-shirt, special Evil Ed edition, and our special 10-color Evil Ed beard. Okay, we paid extra for that. And we will also, if we get enough decent questions or comments, we'll give away a helmet. So thanks and welcome back to Joe's Minibike Reunion. We are sponsored in part by Pioneer Car Audio, CRC Brake Clean, Go-Karts USA, Small Engine Cams, Motor Media Inc., and Ed, your new company. Make up a name of a company, Ed.
Knocker loose.
Knocker loose. Ed, who are some of your fans there that have chimed
Let's see,
in?
we got Corona Irving,
Hey, Corona.
Carlos Andre,
Oh, hold on for a second. Corona, we have bibs and a youth T-shirt going out to you for your kids. I'm sorry, Ed.
All right.
Yes.
Temecula Bob, Bart Barber, Terrence Morgan, Jeff Moore, Chad Logan, Gary Telrico,
Hey,
Von Franco,
Marv.
my buddy Von Franco, Darbon, Karen Kraus, she's good, on OMB, Jake Moe, Kyle Calkins, Glenn Bain, another OMBer, Alan Bryan, Joe Minnie, J.D. Ayers, my buddy that moved to Texas, Don Ward, a Riff Ramen,
You say a riff-raff?
a Riff Ramen.
Oh, sorry.
My buddy Charles Mosley, Mini Drag Bike.
MDB. In fact, Ed, can you pause there too? Charles, I was remiss. Please, if you have the chance, 2 things. The date is the 12th of March. We're going to be at the Dub Light event. If you'd like to go, just hit me up. Go ahead.
William Gillen.
11.
No, the 11th is the move-in. Sunday is the 12th. Check your calendar, please.
Sunday's the 11th.
Sunday is the 11th?
Yes.
Are you sure? We're gonna. Is it on the flyer?
It's on the flyer.
Okay, so one more time then.
Sunday's the 11th.
Sunday the 11th of March from noon to 6,
I believe so.
All right.
William Gillen, Frank Frankes, my newfound friend Justin Eckler, Cliff
Oh, yeah.
Judd.
If I could, stop you again. Justin Eckler. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on Facebook. His first name is spelled Justin, Justin. Last name Eichler. He's got a 67 round tube with the whole swing arm setup taco for sale. I think a 2-piece, whatever it
He
is.
hit me up if I wanted to know anyone that wanted to buy it.
They're not easy to find. He's got one. He had a cool Rupp for sale. He sent me a picture of his garage. I'd like to get down there and see him. He's down at the, I don't know what they call that, Orange County, somewhere down there, right? But Justin, again, we met him over at Max. Really cool young guy. Works at one of the automotive aftermarket companies that I like, OPG. Get down with OPG. So Justin's got some stuff. Hit him up. Again, you can check him out on Instagram or Facebook, or if you can't find him, reach out to Evil Ed. I doubt if that taco's still there, but what do you want for that thing? Do you know?
No, he didn't tell me a price. My buddy Cliff Judd, my friend,
Hi, Cliff.
My friend Susan Curry, Eric Von Fucht.
Who?
Eric Von Fucht.
Get out of here.
No, he's this leather stitcher and
It's not his last name, right?
yeah, that's what his
Von
last name
Fucht?
is. That's what his last name
All right.
is. F-U-C-T.
No, I got it.
Len Lockmiller, my buddy, lives down in San Diego. Ian Cordova, Linda Sebergandio.
That's my wife.
Oh, is that who that is?
Hi, Linda.
And my friend Gerald L.S. Custom.
Oh, Gerald, how are you? I know he's doing great when it comes to building mini bikes, and I know he's, you talk about one tough trooper. He's battled with some health-related issues over the years, and he remains positive. I had the luxury of having that guy step into this office here, and he brought me the beginning bones of Frankenstein.
He's a good guy.
He certainly is, and we wish you continue good health, Gerald. Ed, we've had some folks that are getting rid of a lot of stuff. Do you remember I called you up and said, hey, who's the guy up in Seattle where he's selling a slew of old taco rollers and parts and pieces? We want $7,500. You had to buy the whole.
It was $4,500.
Oh, was it? I thought it was 75.
No, 45.
No shit. Well, hell,
I think he sold it.
at 45, I don't doubt it. I thought it was 75. And that's why.
No, it's 45.
Yeah, so I was thinking, hell, do we go up there? And I'm not as well versed, so I thought, well, let's reach out to Taco Bill. He'd know what, if anything, that guy was showing that was worth the drive. I had the sense that you could probably realize that with a handful of those bikes and then the rest of it just be profit, but you would have to have that time, effort. You got to go there, you got to pick it up, you got to bring it back, you got to go sell, you got to deal with assholes like us to buy and sell. It's like it's too much, you know?
Drive up there.
Yeah, plus I think I was older than him. He's worrying about getting rid of his collection because he's getting old. It's like, shit, I'm as old as him. What else was out there? There was a guy selling, it looked like a spaceship had blown up and thrown up torque, or not torque converters, but what do you have? Just all kinds of clutches. There was one guy who just was selling all kinds of torque converters and clutches. That was all he had.
Really?
In boxes
I
and
missed that.
boxes.
I missed that one.
I've been looking. I have not found, honestly, eBay's a joke. eBay's a joke for bikes. If you look at what is being offered and the prices. So
Try
that
buying some Bonanza stuff lately.
parts.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the $99 pegs?
No, my buddy's trying to get $300 for a set of pegs.
But those are in the bag OE, right?
No. I
Oh,
don't
I-
think they were in the bag. The other one for 99's in the bag.
Yeah, okay. So then I start to look at my bike, like that one behind it. It's like, I don't know, what happens if we just parted that thing out?
Well, that's what people are
Probably-
doing now. You get more for parts.
It's ridiculous. Because here's the thing. No one's fucking riding anymore. All these guys that are talking, all these collectors and all these guys that do the whole, jibber jabber on
I like
OMB.
riding my bikes.
Exactly.
I don't care if I
So-
throw the clutch off of it or whatever, you know.
What do we remember the most? Do we talk about how cool it was we were just riding around without effort for 10 minutes? No, we talk about how funny it was, and we can't believe we found the parts, and we were stopping the traffic with the lowrider group
Yeah,
to
they-
find the one
they
guy
had
to
some
get the
tools.
tools. So, I mean, those are where the stories are. Granted, when you're riding, you wish that you'd have these mishaps, but that's part of mini bike.
It
That's
happens.
part of the
It's a
deal.
mini bike.
And we almost pulled it off.
Yeah, almost. If it didn't have that bent clutch. Spring.
Well, we even tried. I even thought we had that. We had a little.
When I got it home, I pulled it apart. The spring was missing.
Well, there you go.
It was like, well, we put it in there. How did it fly out?
But didn't you feel like we had some life as we were hustling around there? Because not only was you couldn't have picked a worse time to explode. It was
Right at the starting time.
So
of
we
the
got
parade.
there early on purpose. But man, he said, "Well, we'll be there by 2. I can get you home by 12. Get you home by 2." It wasn't until 2:00 that we sat there
Yeah,
for.
we sat there for a couple hours.
And all that time you're riding around, I'm riding around, we're both starting the bike, we're just chomping at the bit. And as soon as he said, "All right, let's go," I'm ready to go. Then I look and say, "Well, where's Ed?" And I went back to circle back. And it's like, okay, I think you had already started it.
Yeah, it was running, ready to take off, and all of a sudden, what the hell happened? Oh shit!
And it would have been so simple just if we had a clutch and just kind of, but you know that's how it goes. Hey, we
Yeah,
got
that's a special clutch on there, wouldn't it?
yeah. There you go. You're right. So even so, it wouldn't have been that simple, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe all the more reasons to bring extra parts when you have kind of like those
Plus,
one-off
it's got
bikes.
like a little adapter on there too.
Yeah, leave that bike home when we go to AV. We have had some questions that have come in. For those of you who have helped us out, we're going to ask you to help us out with a little something else. Emmanuel is more aware of this stuff than we are, but we have on I believe it's YouTube. If you log in and you check out JMBR podcast, the abbreviations for Joe's Minibike Reunion, the JMBR podcast on YouTube, if you would go there and subscribe, we have not focused in on that. I think this may have been the first time you've ever heard us even bring it up. We're out there if you want to find us. That's always been with the exception of this podcast. There's never like a primary request to do anything. Like us or follow us or whatever, however you do it, whenever you do it, or even buy shit from us. We do ask you to come to the event because we think, that's something that we do want to promote. But when Emmanuel talks, and he usually doesn't have many things to tell us, but this one was something where he wanted to let you guys know that if we can get some help, go to the JMBR Podcast YouTube channel and subscribe. We're at 225 people, which is 224 more people than I thought would be there. We're trying to get to 1,000. When we get to 1,000, YouTube shits nickels and spits out quarters, and we get to fund like shampoo for Ed's beard and, I don't know, extra beers for me. So do that if you'd like. Only if you'd like, and only when you'd like. Ed, we've had some questions that have come in, and we have some prize that we're going to give away. We're going to give away the camshaft and the banner, as well as the helmet, as well as the evil ass that could be a good one, the Evil Ed prize pack. Garrett Shander, I think Garrett is suggesting that he's a larger size gentleman, and that's just par for the course. I mean, check out any of the photos of any times we're out. We got some pretty big boys. MDB's a big boy, Brian's a big boy, Frank's a big boy, E's a big boy. There's within our world, Gerald, we just talked about. Gerald's a big boy. D's a big boy. D's a real big boy. I said, damn, D. So give that Pioneers a break, man, will you? You keep eating so much, I'll be able to beat you on Frankenstein. Yeah. But there's a lot of big boys. In fact, that's why I make big boy T-shirts. He wants to know if there is a mini bike builder who can design or designs bikes that are suitable for bigger boys. He knows about the Nitro 44 and the Nitro 50 frame, but is there somebody out there? And my answer right out of the box would be hell yeah. but you just have to have like a custom bike built, and you can go many routes. I've yet to find a city. I've yet to find a street where someone doesn't think that they're a custom bike builder, right?
Oh yeah.
But I've had a lot of success with Jake Moe, although I don't think he's like hanging a sign out there to build bikes. Guy like that, or maybe the Franquez brothers. We all know about Temecula Bob. We've mentioned guys like Gerald from LC Customs. There are guys like Rafa over at GT Hobbies we talked about. Who else, Ed?
I think you just about covered it.
All right, so those are some ideas of some folks that we have had the luxury of having bikes built for us, and or guys that we know who build bikes. Your ability to take it from here, Garrett, we'll give you a little bit of help. All you got to do is go to the JMBR Facebook page, and you could probably get in contact with any of them. And if you want to go the ultra high-end route, call Dave Miller down in Anaheim. He's been on the podcast. If you go back and look at some JMBR podcasts where Dave Miller was on, he gives you his contact information. So go check him out. There's a variety of folks that could help you, and especially if you're a big boy. So your options are beyond the Nitro 44 and the 50. Those are nice bikes. Kalman's got one, right? The Nitro 44. They're out there. Where did we just see one? May have been...
I saw one on Craigslist for sale.
Wasn't there one on the 818? Christmas parade?
I don't remember.
Okay. So anyways, my point, that's a good question. Hopefully we've given you a little bit of insight there. Another question came in from a gentleman whose name came up earlier, Corona Irving. Corona Irving is like Potter Vernell. And the reason why I say that, because Corona Irving could be Irving Corona and Potter Vernell could be Vernell Potter. And if you're like me, where you sometimes just can't figure it out and you're too embarrassed to ask, you will go on forever not knowing that. Now, I'll ask you, do you know if it's Potter Vernell or Vernell Potter?
It's Vernell Potter.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. And you're acting like you know everything over there. I've known him longer than you. It's Vernell Potter?
Yes.
Well, so everything that I see on him, like on his social media, I thought for sure it switched around.
No.
All right. Corona Irving, I don't get as confused with Irving Corona. He has a question. His question is, what was the fastest production mini bike that we may know of? Now, I asked you if it was, there was a Bonanza that had the Hadaka, I think it was the 1300S that had a Hadaka engine, and that was supposed to be 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, like a friggin' Corvette or something like that. Was that true? Because those are some pretty sick bikes in terms of speed. When you were a kid and you got on one of those bikes.
I never had a real fast one when I was a kid. But there were some of the two-strokes mini bikes when they first came out were fast.
Well, see, and that was the other thing, too. You know, once you get the 10-inch wheel, or once you get to a two-stroke engine, are those really mini bikes? You know,
Well,
like we've got
like my first 50 Bonanza, it was a two-stroke.
Yeah,
All
but
the
that's in
early
a rigid
go-karts
frame.
were
You know, the frame automatically, I don't mind it if it's within a 6-inch wheel, rigid frame context. You know, if it's a two-stroke in there. But once it starts to be full suspension, 10-inch wheel, two-stroke, shifters, you know, they really become more mini motos.
Yeah,
than,
well, the Bonanza Hodaka bike had a shifter, so...
Yes. Many of them did, though. Those were speedway bikes.
So I would say... I'm putting my neck out here probably, but...
Well, what about what just you knew from being around? I mean, out of the box, you know, everybody knew the faster bikes, you know? And I never really heard of the Bonanzas.
Well, are we talking the very first ones, or are we talking back in the 60s anywhere?
Specific. Corona Irving was probably born in 1990s, so to him, you know, like it's all...
Some of the big block Bonanzas were fast, like a H50. They were pretty fast.
Yeah, well, there's a slew that were fast.
Bonanza that had a H50 with a 2-speed, little manual shifter.
I remember the talk was that the Arctic Cats were really fast when they came out, and you know they had the leopard seat And they were kind of cool. They were a little bit cooler than the Honda Trail 70s in my view. There was just something about those Arctic Cats, and they
I
appeared.
never did like those bikes.
But they looked fast, and they're all over the place. Their frames and everything, they weren't fast. So those weren't. But they had the Benelli Volcano was fast.
2-stroke.
Yes, that was again more the Mini Moto because that had those big 10-inch wheels and the 2-stroke. But those bikes were more than motorcycles. I would say it was probably a Bonanza model. To answer your question, Corona, you can go to oldminibikes.com, I'm sure, and Google it and find like a litany of responses there.
Well, everyone that has a Rupp is going to say the Rupps were the fastest, and everyone that likes tacos are going to say the taco was the fastest.
The Rupps, like the Arctic Cats, had notoriety that they never lived up to, though. They were never really that fast, those bikes. They were just cool. And there were certain things about those bikes. That Benelli, the Volcano that everybody talks about, that was the one with the shifter on the right side, so that's why they always crashed. People were trying to figure out where to shift or where to brake or where to stop. But that's the best that we got. I think that Bonanza 1300S Corona did 0 to 50 in less than 6 seconds. That's pretty quick. I don't know that there were other bikes out there.
We'll get some feedback on that.
You certainly will, whether you want it or not. Another question that came up comes from our good friend Jake Moe. Speaking of Jake, you and I went up there a couple Saturdays ago.
Yeah.
Jake finished up my Temecula Bob. Hello, Bob. Hopefully you're doing well. And finishing up my other macro bike. I was able to pick up. I did my best to put together what I could on that bike, and I left the brake alone because I wanted Jake to create like that disc brake kit, and I wanted to keep that Astro wheel. So he put that together, did the spacers, did the brake. Boy, you squeeze that brake, it's like you really feel confident, and you really kind of need that because that was that mildly built Predator. Maybe it's like 8 horsepower, 9 horsepower. I don't know what that thing is, but he put that back together. He put some grips on it. He tuned that carburetor. I think he had to drill out one of the jets, and he did whatever needed to get done. And as I picked that bike up, as you know, we dropped off that Temecula Bob macro bike. That bike, once Jake touches something, it comes back so much different than if I had my way. I get everything I had to him at one point. He's kind of like you building an engine, right? So I gave him back the macro bike that, again, I kind of did my best with it, but I was too tight on the clutch brake. The seat was still too big. I had that quick little pipe set up. I wanted to have a nice F&B pipe.
Right.
Maybe go with a thicker chain. Just do little things that I could half-ass or he could do really well.
Right.
So he's got that. Thank you, Jake, for letting me get in that stable and in that assembly line. He has a question that has to do with the choppers. I've been fortunate enough to find over the last 15 years or so 2 Bonanza, I want to say they're 68s. I don't know, 68s. I don't think they're 69s. I think they're 68 CR400s. They're both original paint bikes. And I found my first one off of Craigslist. My brother-in-law, Marv, had come to town, and it was right around the time of Joe's Minibike Reunion 2, the second one. Remember the Recycler was like the only game in town?
Right.
That printed weekly?
I miss that.
Me too. But there was no pictures.
No pictures.
But then it got big time, and you could pay extra and get a shitty picture. But the interweb, when it first started off, it was like Craigslist was kind of like the modern day version of
The Recycler.
Yeah, wasn't it? So I had keywords, and one of them was Bonanza. Probably just like you. So every day, ding, 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 ding. One day, I get an ad, and it was kind of like, it was almost not an illiterate ad, but it was a choppy post. Bonanza was clear, not too much else. It said chopper, and it had ORIG.
Original.
Who the fuck knows? That's all I needed to hear. It had some 818 number. Called up. No answering machine, no nothing. I checking the number.
I think I called on that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I got down
I think
there.
it was those guys,
There's two guys.
the guys that I had dealings with.
I think you brought this up before. Now that you mentioned that, there were two older guys. There was Burbank, and I picked my brother-in-law up. We went to Studio City to pick up some painting I bought. And on the way back, it's like, dude, I want to stop over here. I got this guy's address. I finally got him on the phone. He gave me an address. He was kind of abrupt. And I'm going up and down. My car didn't have navigation. I'm fucking thinking about getting out, trying to call him, but I know he's going to get pissed off at me, or he ain't going to answer the phone. I stumble across, I find it, I go there. Everything's open up in the house. There's the bike. 'Cause it's out there in the garage. I'm knocking on the door. I'm going around, ringing doorbells, shaking shit, anything to get somebody's attention. And finally, a guy walks over from the other house towards the driveway. It's him. He's over his neighbor's house while I was there. And I see the bike. And it was that bike. And it was all original. It had that Kickstarter on it. It had the original paint. It had, I don't know if it ran, the rear wheel was kind of stuck. And I said, I like the bike. He was asking $550. I said, will you take $450? He walked away. What's the matter? No way. He said, there's no way. I'm not budging on the price. He says, the Kickstarter alone's worth that. I said, how about $5? He said, no. I said, great. Here's $550. And I put that bike away. I've got a picture of it in the back of my truck. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm talking to James up in Newhall, looking for a Honda CT70.
Mm-hmm.
I get lost in his storage containers and his houses and all this shit.
I think I sold James a couple choppers.
Well, he had that blue one over there with the Hadaka in it, if you did.
No, I didn't sell him that
That's
one.
gone. That went to your buddy who's selling those pegs.
Oh, went to
Yeah, nice guy.
Andre.
Yeah. This one, I get from James. You rebuilt the engine. It's got the 400 engine in there. I had the Kickstarter, got that, and they're all original paint bikes. I redid the seat on this one. The original one that I bought from the story on that bike too that I bought at Burbank is was two brothers. The older brother got the Hadaka model, and the younger brother got the CR400. And his brother still had the other bike. So that would be the coups to find that one. Those are three good questions. Thanks for sending them in. The winner would be Corona Irving, I would think, Ed. About the fastest production mini bike. That stimulates a lot of questions, you know. So, congratulations to Corona Irving. You've won the small engines camshaft, compliments of small engine cams, as well as the small engine cams autographed poster.
For the man cave.
And we'll also be sending you out those T-shirts for your kids. So, thanks for sending in your question. Our second place winner will be. I think our second place winner will go to our large frame guy because we've got large T-shirts and extra large. So we're gonna award Garrett Chandler. Garrett, you've won the Evil Ed apparel pack, which is the custom hat and T-shirt, and we'll have Evil Ed autograph the hat for you. Congratulations to you. Just send us, I guess, a message with your address. We'll get that out to you. Corona, we've got your address. And for the helmet, although you may not need it, Jake, and just tell me what size you need, we're going to send a helmet out to Jake Moe for his question about the Bonanza choppers. Jake, maybe Logan can use it, or maybe one of the guys up there that you know up in the AV who's riding without a helmet could use it. Congratulations to you as well. Also compliments of Honda of Glendale, one of these fine helmets. And Jake, if you need one for yourself, let me know. We'll add a second one in there too for all that you do for us. Ed, I want to thank you for coming in. It wasn't as bad as we thought weather-wise,
No,
huh?
I thought I'd be freezing in here.
All right, as we wind down, I've got to give a couple shout-outs myself. Once again, I remind everybody we're going to be down at the LA Convention Center March 11th from noon to 6 for the Dub Night event. Check us out if you'd like. I want to give a shout-out. Actually, I've got a few of them. A good friend of mine, Pat Zigarelli, Ziggy. Ziggy is on the mend and hopefully on a better path. I want to give a shout out to Clarence Barnes. Clarence, I know you've been out busy doing all your movie star stuff.
Oh, what is it?
Hi, Ed.
What are we doing here? I didn't.
So technically,
I didn't.
I know.
I didn't hit that.
No, I know. It comes on magically, Ed. Cliff Judd. Cliff, I shared some of your stories with Ed. He's going to answer some of them offline. I hope your wife's feeling better as well. Colin Smith, big shout out to you. Dane Walton, Big Bree and Little Bree, my buddy Ram from UPS, Team Campbell. Hopefully all you guys are doing well. Irving Payan and his girlfriend, my buddy Larry and Bridget Gerdo, Gene Moffa Parker, Big Jerome, Jimmy Jackson, George and Bonnie Alden, Dan Rolden, my buddy Mike Spataro. Hopefully I'll see you around the 17th of March. Eric Biggs, James Kopshina, our friends over at GTS, Fort Timberlake. My main man, Brian Pake, Dave Weisner, Rich Bassett. We mentioned my buddy James Griffith, who hooked me up with that cool 5-horsepower Briggs. James, good to meet you, brother. Dwayne Richmond, Jimmy Jackson, we mentioned you. Curtis, MDB, Dan Rolden, Gerald. Happy birthday, Dave Luce. Temecula Bob, we said hi to you. And I want to congratulate my buddy Morris Lifschultz. That's right, Lifschultz. Congratulations on your newborn. This is Joe's from Joe's Minibike Reunion. Thanking everybody for tuning in tonight. Tell a friend about the podcast if you can. Check out JMBR on YouTube. And if you can't subscribe, we're trying to build that up. I got instructions from Emmanuel. One more time, Emmanuel, on the upcoming scleroderma walk.
March 24. Go to sclerowalk.org.
March 21st, sclerowalk.org. Evil Ed, always a blast. Linda,
Yeah,
thanks
it
for
was
making a
fun.
great pizza.
Yeah, thanks, Linda.
Yeah, she did a good job. She always
Yeah.
does a good job. I'll be in there giving her a hug in a little while. Emmanuel, thank you. Nice that things are working out a little bit on your home front. Cheers to you. Hopefully continued success with you and Christine. For more about Joe's Mini Bike Reunion, check us out on Facebook. Check out our website. We'll be updating it shortly. Once again, limited Evil Ed apparel available just for the asking. Discounted pricing. In fact, we'll charge a premium for your stuff, Ed. This is Joe's Mini Bike Reunion podcast. Once again, we thank you for joining us. We'll be back, I don't know, probably the third week of March after the Dub Night event. Hope you had a good time. We sure did. We'll see you next time.
Bye. What?
Joe's Minibike Show.